Yo, what is up, it's your boy Jay Johnny back here in Arizona. Hey, how you doing today, you beautiful Perim people? Today we're going to be doing a deck profile of the match that we played yesterday. If you guys haven't seen that match already, go ahead and go back to the video. It'll be in the description down below. And check out the match. It's a pretty good match, pretty solid. We got curb stomped, but we did really good. It's not as one-sided as it looks. Just Zerium armor, man. Zerium armor. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit the deck, and then you guys can try it out. It's also linked in the description down below, so if you guys want to try it out. This deck did recently win the last the last tournament in the Discord. Very solid deck overall. I like playing the deck. It feels good to do a lot of damage on these. It's just, when your opponent has double before the storm, they have double before the storm. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can realistically do when you're facing down, before the storm. It's like Slash Claw. If you already used your damage negation, I mean, you're dead. So get out of the game. Get good, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about the deck, and you guys can try it out later on. So we're gonna start off with the creatures as we usually do, and the battle gear that they have. First off, we have Awakey. Awakey gives all of your Mipedians an additional 20 speed if they have invisibility, and gives them invisibility strike 5, so it allows them to have additional, strike damage. On top of that, it itself also has air 5, which is very solid damage, like air 5 getting 5 additional damage. Air, elemental X is probably one of the strongest effects in the game, just allowing you to deal an additional damage for free, effectively. No battle gear, nothing required, just there. So very solid, especially considering it has no downside, and it provides a Lord effect, which is really very good. He's equipped with the entropy modulator. Whenever he hits flip face up with Sirocco, it allows you to turn an attack into 15 damage. So let's say like you're placing like Chaor the Fierce, they go for a fire ram, dealing 30 damage, plus his 10, 40 damage. You can go for entropy modulator, turn that into 15. When you're facing into strike mirror, you can go ahead and activate the entropy modulator on their first attack and reduce the damage down to 0. Very, very, very solid effect. There's just nothing else that needs to be said about that effect. The other Awakey is the exact same. You are playing 2 because that gives you an additional 40 speed on all of your creatures, and also gives them additional strike 10. So very, very solid to be playing 2 of these. Very, very, very powerful creature. Next will be a Prince Medinu. Mipedians you control gain invisibility surprise. Combined with this, all your Mipedians have invisibility surprise and strike 10. And they all get 40 additional speed. I mean, it's just... And these do stack with themselves, too. So if you're able to give Awakey invisibility, he does give gain invisibility strike 5 from himself and additional 20 speed. So very, very, very powerful combination of creatures here. The one thing that I would change if I were to change anything is I would put Mipedian here, where Medinu is, instead of having him in the front line, because it allows you to protect from any range swift shenanigans. It's just... That's the one thing I would change. I wanted to play the deck as it was built, because I feel like, that's how the deck was built, and I should reflect that properly. But if I were to change anything, it'd be switching these 2 out. That being said, Medinu is equipped with the Mipedian's Fulgurite. This allows him to deal 10 additional damage on all his attacks the turn that it is flip face up. There is no way to recycle this, unfortunately, so, I mean, it's just gonna be destroyed at the end phase. So, but you do get to deal a ton of additional damage, so it's effectively having air 10 for that one combat. So that itself is pretty strong, especially considering he himself gives himself surprise, so he's attacking first immediately. It's like having strike 10 where the strike continues to stick around. It's very, very strong. And then again, since he gives himself invisibility, he gains an additional 40 speed and 10 strike. It's just... this is such a solid core. This core is so solid. I love it so much. Next up, we're going to move to Mipedian. Mipedian has visibility strike 10 and inside control Royal, which is Medinu. He also gains Defender and Air 5. So he deals an additional 5 damage on all his air attacks, and he starts off with additional invisibility. He starts off with 10 additional damage. When combined with the Awakey, it turns into 20 damage, and then he also has surprise because of Medinu. So very, very, very powerful to have 20 additional damage. Now, he is equipped with Droskin. Obviously, if you were to play this in paper, A, you wouldn't be able to play Mipedian because Mipedian doesn't exist, and B, Droskin is $15,000. So, obviously you would not be playing with that. So, yeah, I mean, that's a very good reason not to have this deck in paper, is A, Mipedian doesn't exist, and B, because Droskin is $15,000. But very solid card. This Mipedian also has the Zerium armor instead of the Droskin, because obviously Droskin is unique. And Zerium armor is also unique, so you put the Zerium armor on this Mipedian, and then he only takes 20 damage from attacks. Very solid effect. And last off, we have Ichan. He has Expend Air. Targeted chasing creature gains untargetable. Now you can target your own creature with this, or you can target your opposing creature. The opposing creature wouldn't be able to heal at that point, wouldn't be able to gain additional energy off of most targeting Mujic. It prevents a lot. On top of that, it can also protect your creatures from being burst down with burn effects. Just a very powerful effect all around. So solid effect with Ifjan. He has equipped a Chaor just to keep him from being targeted down with abilities and destroyed. So very, very powerful effect with Ifjan. One of the strongest defensive abilities in the game, if I'm being 100% honest. Next up, we're going to go to locations. We have the Storm Tunnel. This allows air attacks to deal 5 additional damage, essentially giving all of your creatures air 5. Well, all creatures air 5. So very solid. Also, water attacks deal 5 less damage. Not as relevant, but can be relevant. Next up, we have Foothold Assault Trench. If all creatures a player controls share a tribe, that player's engaged creature deals an additional 5 attack damage. Most times you'll be facing down single tribes, because most of the most powerful creatures in the game are unique or loyal. So this allows you to essentially gain an additional 5 and do the chosen element or whatever. I mean, it's essentially just 5 damage on all attacks, which is a very powerful effect. Now there are cards that have been ununiqued. This is one of them, so you can play multiple copies of this card inside your deck, despite the fact that it does have unique, just because that's the community ban list. Next up, we have Mipedian Valley. Battle gear equipped with creatures without air is not face up at the beginning of combat. All our creatures have air, except for the fact that if Chan removes his own air, so that doesn't affect us. And unfortunately, we did play into the mirror, so obviously all their creatures had air as well. So really did not get the time to shine that it probably deserved inside that match. Next up, we have the Hunter's Perimeter. When this creature becomes an active location, Mipedian creatures gain Invisibility Strike. Because we have Mudinu, we already have Invisibility Strike, but at the beginning of combat, we reveal a new location, and we can put this Mirage into a space, and that creature cannot lose invisibility, and it works, and their abilities work in the creatures with invisibility. So very powerful, very powerful effect. Very much love it. Very much love it. Kind of redundant, like I said, with Mudinu being in the deck, but I mean, it's still a very strong effect all itself. Next up, we have Cryptomorph Barricades. Sorry, Cryomorph Barricades. That looks like a D, it's an O. And this essentially allows Malvadine to deal an additional 5 attack with all of his attacks. I mean, there's nothing else to really be said there. Just Malvadine deals 5 additional damage with all of attacks. Next up, we'll move on to our Battle Gear, Strain of Expensive Delusions. Whenever you can target a Mirage location to destroy a Battle Gear equipped to creatures on that Mirage location. Just very strong removal. You saw that we used it to destroy a Phoenix Belt. Was solid. If we had seen the Azirium armor beforehand, we probably would destroy the Azirium armor instead, because we definitely would have won the game if we destroyed the Azirium armor. Unfortunately, we didn't know where the Azirium armor was, so that kind of limited our ability to actually deal with it. So yeah, fun. Next up, we have Melody and Mirage here. Target attack to 0 damage. Everybody knows Mom is very strong. We have Aegis Aria. Negate target attack. The next attack plate to deal 0 damage. Very strong. Like I said, it's essentially a Mom, but your next attack is also ghosted too, so that sucks. That's unfortunate. But next up, we have Silent Requiem. Negate targeted magic ability that targets a creature with invisibility. It's like Song of Shelter, just a little bit worse. Still strong. I mean, it's still strong. It's a negate Mujic, and it prevents your creatures from being popped down or given negative effects due to the opponent's cards. Last off, we have double keening because with energy gain. Yeah, there's nothing else to be said there. Just energy gain. Would go into the attacks, but the attacks are pretty much self-explanatory, so if you guys want to check out the attacks and, edit them yourself, figure out what you want to do with those, go ahead and just download the deck profile. It'll be linked down in the description down below. Like I said, very fun deck, and I feel like our opponent got to showcase the deck a little bit better. We were effectively playing the exact same deck, so it doesn't really matter who won, because it did get showcased, and that's all that really matters, is that the deck really gets showed off. So if you guys would like to check it out, go ahead and go down in the description. Link in the description below, and it's a very fun, strong deck. Highly recommend checking it out if you guys have not already. That being said, I've been Jay Johnny. I'll be seeing you guys later in Chaotic. So for now, let's port to Perim.